The White House has been many things over the years. A political battleground, a symbol of American power, and for 4 glorious years, a reptile palace. Yep, you heard right. Back in 1826, this hallowed hall of American democracy played host to an unlikely resident, a 4-foot alligator. And let me tell you, it was not your average houseguest. In the annals of presidential anecdotes, few tales are as outlandish, amusing, and downright zany as the story of the alligator that made itself at home in the White House. Join me as we peel back the layers of this wild escapade, revealing the fascinating figures and surprising secrets behind this jaw-dropping chapter in presidential history. Picture this. The year is 1826, and the United States is basking in the glow of its early national identity. President John Quincy Adams, a man more comfortable with diplomacy than domestic beasts, is settling into his role as the 6th President of the United States. Known for his intellect and cool demeanor, Adams is not your typical outdoorsy type, but he's about to get a crash course in handling a critter that's anything but ordinary. Now let's turn our attention to the star of the show, the alligator. While the exact species of this particular reptile is not documented in history books, it's safe to say that it belonged to one of the many species of alligators found in the southern states. At a length of 4 feet, it was neither the largest nor the smallest of its kind. But for the residents of the White House, it was colossal enough to cause quite a stir. The unlikely duo of President Adams and alligator came together thanks to a twist of fate and a well-meaning French aristocrat. Enter Marquis de Lafayette, a legendary figure in American history who played a pivotal role in the American Revolution. Now a respected diplomat, Lafayette embarked on a goodwill tour of the United States in 1824 and 1825. He was greeted with parades, celebrations, and a plethora of gifts, each intended to symbolize the gratitude Americans felt towards him. In New Orleans, the locals had a unique token of appreciation in mind: a live alligator. Perhaps they saw the irony in gifting a French aristocrat with a creature synonymous with the American South. Or maybe they just thought it was a pretty cool souvenir. Whatever their motivation, Lafayette took the bait, literally, and decided to pass this peculiar gift along to his dear friend, President Adams. But why did Lafayette choose Adams for this unusual gift? Well, for starters, he knew it would be a memorable one. Presidents don't get too many surprises, let alone ones that hiss and snap. Secondly, he likely chose Adams because of their shared history. Both men were deeply involved in the affairs of Europe and France. By extension, the alligator could be seen as a metaphorical bridge between the two nations. Imagine the scene. A dusty carriage arrives at the doorstep of the White House, carrying a crate that rattles ominously. As the driver unloads his cargo, a low growl rumbles from within. Inside the crate, the alligator stirs, sensing the change in surroundings. Little does it know, it's about to make history. When the news of the impending arrival spread through the White House staff, a mixture of excitement and dread filled the air. Servants and dignitaries alike gathered to catch a glimpse of the extraordinary creature. Each had their own theories about the alligator's temperament, size, and ultimate fate. Once inside, the alligator was placed in a makeshift enclosure, likely a wooden box or a temporary tank. Care was taken to ensure it was secure, but the question of how to feed it remained. Raw meat was chopped and tossed into its enclosure, a delicacy the alligator relished, if somewhat messy. But where exactly was this all happening? The White House has undergone numerous renovations throughout the years, leaving us with a limited understanding of what the building looked like in 1826. However, based on historical records and architectural drawings, we can piece together a rough picture. Most likely, the alligator made its home in the East Room, a large, well-lit area that served as a reception room and a place for entertaining guests. In fact, there is a popular anecdote that suggests the alligator was housed in a bathtub in the private quarters of the Adams family. But the truth of this story remains uncertain. Life at the White House was never dull, but the presence of an alligator took things to a whole new level. Picture a formal dinner party with diplomats and dignitaries seated around a table laden with fine food and wine. The conversation is lively, punctuated by the clink of silverware and the murmur of polite laughter. Suddenly, a commotion erupts from a nearby room, perhaps the East Room, where the alligator resides. A blood-curdling screech followed by heavy footsteps sends the guests into a tizzy. A hush falls over the room as they exchange nervous glances. Then, to their horror, the door bursts open and a 4-foot alligator emerges, slithering majestically toward the stunned guests. Chaos ensues as people scream, leap from their chairs, and scramble for safety. The alligator, intrigued by the commotion, pauses, then with a flick of its tail, disappears back into the shadows. While such an incident may seem far-fetched, it's entirely plausible, given the alligator's presence in the White House and the lack of restrictions on its movement. And who could forget John Adams, the younger member of the Adams family? Reportedly developed a fondness for the alligator, a sentiment not shared by everyone in the White House. It became a game for him to let the alligator loose during official functions, causing pandemonium among the unsuspecting guests. Can you imagine the scene? A group of esteemed senators gathered to discuss important legislation, their faces etched with concentration as they pore over documents. Suddenly, a mischievous grin spreads across John Quincy Adams' face. With a swift move, he opens the door, allowing the alligator to slither out and meander among the startled politicians. The room descends into chaos as the alligator, curious and playful, investigates its new surroundings. While such antics may seem cruel, they also provide a glimpse into the lighter side of life in the White House and the close bond between the younger Adams and the unconventional pet. It might be easy to assume that the alligator lived a pampered life at the White House, receiving special treatment and enjoying a luxurious lifestyle. However, the reality was far more modest. Despite being a revered symbol of America, the alligator wasn't exactly treated like a member of the family. It's likely that it spent most of its time confined to its enclosure, only emerging on rare occasions to explore the halls of the White House. The caretakers likely followed a simple feeding regimen, ensuring the alligator had enough to eat, but not so much that it became obese. The alligator's diet probably consisted of fish, rodents, and other small animals, which were readily available in the markets of Washington, D.C. But that's not all. The alligator's enclosure was probably kept clean, and efforts were made to make it as comfortable as possible for the reptile. Perhaps branches or rocks were added to simulate its natural habitat and provide enrichment. But amidst the hilarity and chaos, there was a darker side to this unusual living arrangement. As weeks passed, it became clear that keeping an alligator in the White House was not as easy as it sounded. The creature, with its sharp teeth and powerful jaws, posed a constant threat to the safety of the residents and visitors. Accidents could happen in an instant, turning a casual stroll through the White House into a terrifying ordeal. Furthermore, the presence of an alligator in such close quarters could have had negative health implications. Alligators can carry bacteria and parasites that could be harmful to humans. And with people coming and going from the White House constantly, the risk of exposure increased. As the challenges of housing an alligator in the heart of American politics became apparent, a decision had to be made. Reluctantly, President Adams and his family realized that it was in the best interest of everyone involved to part ways with their scaly companion. The alligator was likely relocated to a more suitable environment, such as a zoo or a private menagerie, where it could roam freely and receive proper care. While the exact details of the alligator's departure from the White House remain a mystery, one thing is certain: its impact on the Adams family and the nation as a whole was anything but ordinary. This episode in presidential history serves as a reminder that even the most serious and stoic leaders are capable of making lighthearted decisions. John Quincy Adams, known for his dedication to public service and intellectual pursuits, showed us that he had a playful side as well. Moreover, the alligator's presence at the White House highlights the evolving relationship between humans and animals. It reflects a time when exotic pets were more common and the boundaries between domestication and wildlife were less defined. Today, the idea of an alligator roaming the halls of the White House is met with amusement and disbelief. It seems like something that could only happen in a movie. But during the 1820s, it was a reality. If you're interested in learning more about unusual presidential pets, check out my video on crazy pets presidents have kept. It's a wild ride through American history. In conclusion, the alligator's visit to the White House was a brief but unforgettable chapter in presidential lore. It humanized President Adams, adding a touch of whimsy to his otherwise serious legacy. It reminds us that even in the highest levels of government, a sense of humor and adaptability are valuable traits. The story of the alligator at the White House is a testament to the unexpected turns that life can take and the importance of embracing the absurdity of it all. So the next time you find yourself amidst the serious affairs of state, remember the time an alligator made itself at home in the Oval Office. It might just be the perfect dose of levity you need. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Your support means the world to me. Subscribe to be part of our community and stay tuned for more captivating historical tales. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the fascinating world of history.